Part 1, Western Russia. In the 8th century, the Vikings from Sweden packed up their longships with goods and began to explore east. Over hundreds of years, the Vikings traded, invaded, raided, and settled in 3 main areas in the east. The first in Western Russia, then to the south in Baghdad and Constantinople. For the purpose of this video, we're going to look at the first place they settled and traded in, which was Western Russia. The first place the Vikings reached was a town called Staria Lagoda in Western Russia. This had been an important trading town and meeting point for many different traders, including the Vikings. It was here that the Vikings traded their key goods from their homelands. So let's have a look at those. These were walrus ivy, honey, falcons, slaves, fur, amber, in return for items such as jewellery. So it was whilst the Vikings were here trading in Staria Lagoda that the Slavic people, the people of Staria Lagoda, told them about trade in the south. Specifically about the cities of Baghdad and Constantinople's rich bazaars, which is a market, and large amounts of gold, silver and silk. This would have been incredibly tempting to the Vikings as they didn't have silver and silk in their homelands. These would have been new materials for them. However, that looks simple, okay, potentially getting down there. However, it took over 1,500 miles to get there. That's over 90 days of straight travel. This was a journey that they could not achieve in one go. The conditions of the rivers, the Volga, which is what the Vikings are named after, the Volga Vikings, because they travelled down the Volga, and the Volga is here, look, from Staria Lagoda all the way to Baghdad. It was very difficult because it had fast rapids. The Dnieper particularly had fast rapids. It was treacherous and difficult. So at some sections they had to actually take the boats out of the water, cross it overland, and then put it back into the rivers or the streams. So that's called portage, moving boats over land. However, there was a risk of doing this because you potentially could get robbed by the Slavic people or the people in Western Russia. Okay, so therefore, how did they overcome this problem, this treacherous journey? The way they overcame it was to create settlements along the rivers in Western Russia. Okay, they built these settlements or created these settlements or fortified the settlements to be able to repair boats, to eat, to rest and to trade. It's a long journey. Okay, so they created, the main settlements were Kiev and Novgorod. Okay, so later the Vikings fully controlled the north and south of the river route, okay, giving them control from Staria Lagoda almost all the way to Constantinople. So let's have a little look then at Novgorod. So in 860, a Viking called Rorik had created a fortress out of Novgorod, so fortified it, built walls around it, made it more powerful, made it stronger, made it safer. Okay, followed closely by his son Oleg, who joined the existing towns on the bank of the Dnieper to create a larger trading town. Okay, so Novgorod was an important trading town that was in the north. And then finally, let's look at Kiev. Kiev was also a major Viking settlement in Western Russia. Vladimir ruled over Kiev from 978 to 1015, and in 988 he actually brought about a crucial change to Viking life. He became a Christian and married the sister of the Byzantine Empire. Now that's in Constantinople. This would have been drastic at the time to convert from the belief in the Norse mythology to Christianity, and it had a massive impact on Viking life and the way Vikings lived in this settlement. For instance, It changed their language, it changed the culture, it changed the music they listened to, the laws that they abided by, and the politics to align with the Christians, Byzantines in Constantinople. So, let's have a look then. So although the Vikings set out just to trade with the Rus, in reality they achieved much more than this. They were excellent at trading, but also created successful strongholds and settlements and communities outside of their homelands of Scandinavia. We know it was successful because the Vikings held the power down the rivers in the Western Russia for hundreds of years. So for hundreds of years they held on to these settlements, and that was why it was successful.